Hi, this is Seth from ReadTheHebrewBible.com. Today we have our first sample lesson to show our methodology and how things are going to work, and we're really excited because you're going to see I don't think you can find stuff like this anywhere, and with this new curriculum that we're doing is really great. I think you're going to really appreciate it. We're going to start with a reading from the book of Genesis, Bereshit in Hebrew, chapter 1, verse 3. In Hebrew, that's Bereshit, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Gimel. Okay, and the first thing, you can follow the arrows. Hebrew is read from right to left, unlike English, which is left to right. And that causes all kinds of issues when trying to do the kind of things that we're doing. To make it easier for you, we have an arrows showing which way things are going. So you can read the Hebrew text in this direction. The transliteration is broken up into three parts. The transliteration is writing the Hebrew in English letters as best as we can, because not all the sounds are exactly the same. And in the first, we have it broken down syllable by syllable. So we have va. You have to read this part left to right, and then the next, then move over to the next one, moving to the left. Va, yo, mer. We'll get more to that in a second. And then we have the whole word together. Vayomer. And then the next word and the next word. And then when you were done, we can read it all from left to right to make it easier for you. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to read it more quickly in the beginning for those who are more used to reading, and then I'm going to slow down a lot for those who are not. And after we're done with the reading part, we're going to move on to the translation part. Okay, so here we go. And I'll do my best to pronounce this properly as an Israeli would. However, I'm not a native-born Israeli. I'm a native-born American who lives in Israel. And some of the pronunciations are different and are very hard for the American tongue to say. I'll do my best. Okay. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or Vayehi Or. Okay, and we'll go slow that down. Again, Hebrew is read from right to left, and it's also a little bit tricky because the vowels, when they're written, are intermingled around, below, above, and sometimes inside or to the left of really the letters. I'll do my best to trace the mouse over it as I'm reading. Va, yo, mer, vayomer, Elohim, Elohim, Yehi, Yehi, Or, Vayhi, Vayhi, Or. Got it? Try again, quickly. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or Vayhi Or. Okay, now let's move to, and you can see it here, and we can read it here in the transliteration. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or Vayhi Or. Okay, now moving down to the translations. Now we have what's called an interlinear translation, which means you have one line of Hebrew and then below that a translation into English. However, we've done something which, as far as I know, is completely unique. We're breaking the translation down component by component. In Hebrew, like in English, there can be a few different components of a word. There can be a prefix and a suffix. Hebrew is even more complicated than English in that we're doing our best to break it down into the subunits. We can't always do it, but we're doing our best. And again, it's read from right to left, and the components are read from right to left, but each one, of course, is read. That's the word and, right? It's not dana. And things are a little bit different here. Here we broke up this. It's pronounced yo. That's these two letters, the yud and the aleph. But down here you see this is just the yud is makes it he. So the rest of the word is the shorsh, the root. So we had to break it up a little bit differently. So the first word, vayomer, the va means and. The yud is third person. In this case, it's he. Third person singular in this case. And the rest of it, amar, is the root, which means says in the present tense. In this case, past tense, the way it's set up. And of course, it's pronounced vayomer when you put it all together. But the root would be amar, but of course it's changed a little bit as happens when we change tenses in Hebrew. So the first word is vayomer, and he said. The second word is Elohim, which is one of the many words for God in Hebrew. Like the Eskimos have 30 different words or whatever for snow. So there's also in Hebrew there's many different words for God. This word is translated as just God. Yehi is an abbreviated version of Yihyeh, which means there will be. And in Hebrew, the command form is the third person, is in the future tense, so it really also means there should be. Or means light. Vayehi, or, and there was light. Now here's where it gets tricky. An interesting grammatical point. Va, again, means and yehi means there was. Here, yehi meant there will be. Here it means there was, because the vav at the beginning of a word, and, when the word is a verb, switches the tense from future, if it's in future, to the past, and from past to future. So this really means, in modern Hebrew, it would mean, and there will be. But in biblical Hebrew, most of the time it gets switched, so it becomes, and there was light. Okay, so putting it together, it's Vayomer, and he said. Who said? Elohim, God, said it. Yehi, there will be or, light. There should be light. Vayehi, or, and there was light. Okay, so here's a free translation down together. And God said, there should be light, and there was light. Now, I'm going to also read it the way it's, according to the cantillation, the way it's, there's actually notes in here. In the words, around the words, in addition to the vowels, each word has one or sometimes two of these little funny additional things, which are actually musical signs. This one, and we're going to read it the way it would be read, that way. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or Vayhi Or.